Oh my goodness, one
Oh,
bar.
wow, that was pretty fast. Yeah, I got
Right.
one fucking bar in the back. It's like,
Oh
man.
no. I mean, yeah, that's yeah. But aren't they still doing like construction on the McMansions?
Oh yeah, they
Uh,
they're building the whole farm of them. Like
right.
seriously, they came and cleared out acres and acres and acres of woodland, and there's
Right.
like, oh, I don't know. It looks like there's going to be 200 houses in the development.
Right. But
It's
but
huge.
they're still putting down like new what like fiber that they're doing the
Yeah,
FiOS or
they're
something.
doing the new they're doing the underground internet. They're doing, which is I believe the fiber.
Yeah.
They are paving the roads, built fixing the roofs, making everything
Right.
look pretty around here because the rich people is coming.
Right. And then it's like the next time it floods and they built it so that all the water goes to where
All
you
the
are.
water drains to us poor folks so they could have this property too.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's how it works, right?
Right, right.
Oh my god.
Happy.
Ah, so
You ready
happy
for this?
tax day.
Oh
No,
yeah, happy tax day. Good morning,
happy tax
everyone.
day, buddy.
It is April 14th, 2024, and you are watching the Raging to the vlogs. Yeah. Do it.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll catch you
Hit
guys
it.
next time.
No.
Ah, good
Ah.
morning, Daphne.
Good morning, Nita. Oh my goodness. Ah, so who's joining us today on
Oh,
the
people.
people?
I'm not even looking.
People.
People. Good morning,
People.
Joseph and Melissa. Good
Hi,
morning. Good
Joseph.
morning. Good morning.
Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. Yes. And yes, I see you, my beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. If you're joining us from Facebook, come over to YouTube, join the sexy people in the chat. And while you're here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. So, yeah, I guess we might as well just get this show on the road, right? So, hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
And I am known for the Furry Fantasy Adventure Tall Tales, which is currently running on Kickstarter right now with the new story arc Tears of the Mother. It is a re-release of issues 1 through 5, plus the brand new issue 6. The link is in the show notes and in the chat as well, so that you can check it out. We still have plenty of days to go, but why wait and pick up your books today? So yes, and I am also known for my medieval fantasy drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which returns to Kickstarter with Volume 2 later on this year, probably early summer. So keep an eye out for that as well. In the meantime, you can read both my comics online at eagleworks.com. That's EGOWORKS, and Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. And to tell you more about it, and her one bar, Nita, here's Nita.
I have 2 bars right now.
Oh,
I mean,
generous.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. Like, thank you, internet gods.
Yeah.
But anyway, my name is Nina Lanning. I'm a writer, vlogger, blogger, mouthy piece of
Yeah,
bitch,
well,
whatever,
no.
whatever. Whatever you want to call me with your mouth today.
Right.
And I own the Google account that runs the Indie Comics Network on YouTube, where we try to bring you daily comics centered stuff. And you can find us at
Right.
indiecomicsnetwork.com.
Oh, what was
And
that?
that's
What
it.
was it? Where can you find it?
Indiecomicsnetwork.com.
It's .com. Cut.
Oh my goodness. So usually like I said, Nita makes up the topic for the day, and I try to ad lib to it. And I do have a topic that I want to talk about today, but I see that you picked something today. Is this a particular thing that
Oh no! It wasn't anything. I was just like, I didn't have a title. I didn't have time to message you. I was like, whatever, pick me, because what's on my mind right now is all these fucking upcoming award shows and shit. And everybody's like,
that's true.
oh, nominated. And I'm so exhausted
the
already.
Ringos.
The first award has not been issued out yet, and I'm already
Right.
fucking tired of it.
Right.
And then the war crimes going on all in comics and all the hate.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yes.
Like, yeah.
Oh my goodness, to the Hague with everybody. So yeah, but before we start off with I want to show off something I got today. For the past couple of days, oh my god, it's like I've never gotten so many updates from the postal service on my phone as to a package that was coming to me. And I was like, what did I order? It's like I didn't even remember what it was. And I must have been getting like 3 or 4 updates a day for like the past 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, what did I order? And finally came in this morning, and it's like, oh, I ordered this. Yes, I did order this. And so I finally got this big ass book, Masters of Anatomy.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, look at that. It's so this is a book that I supported on Kickstarter. I had originally gotten one of their books when I first found out about them. All it is just a collection of poses. Just a collection of poses that you could just pretty much, use for anything. And it's done by all these different artists. I think, let's see. So they have Adam Hughes. They have like a whole bunch of J. Scott Campbell is in here. Kim Jung-ji is in here. Like this is a list of all the artists, all the professional artists that contributed to this book. And I have to admit, it's like, especially lately, I've started buying books again, art books, ever since like Google has become like an AI swampland.
Yeah.
And it's just been, and now mind you, putting in the before : like 2021 really does help clean out the search. But you know what? In the end, I should have books of my own to reference to. So yeah, so if you're the type that probably you need a little bit of inspiration when it comes to picking out poses, this is a literal catalog of poses that you can use. I did a previous live stream where I was showing how I used these poses to kind of lay out a cover for the next Tall Tales trade. So yeah, so this is Masters of Anatomy. Look at the sizes. This is actually 7 of their books. This is 7 of their books in one volume. And this is Masters of Anatomy. They are on Kickstarter, and unfortunately, as far as I know, you can, after the Kickstarter is done, you could only get like digital files of the books, but I'm not sure about this one because it's really, really fresh. So you might be able to get hard copies of this book before it sells out. But because I'm not crazy about their digital files, because it uses a proprietary thing that you have to be online in order to use. It's super obnoxious. It's super obnoxious. So when they were doing a brand new campaign for another book that's shipping later, it's a kind of like the ultimate anatomy guide. It's like they say it's the last anatomy guide tutorial book you ever need. So I took advantage and I bought that book, and I bought this book as well. And yeah, now I'm just waiting for the other book. Actually, I'm waiting for a whole bunch of books, but yeah, Masters of Anatomy. So get your catalog of poses from all these different artists. Not to be confused with a book that I've been seeing popping up on Facebook.
Anatomy book.
It's called like Character Reference Guide or something like that.
Oh, AI. Every
book. Yeah, it's a book that they're trying to sell as an art book, but it's all AI, like kind of like a how-to do character, and it's all AI. They credit no artists whatsoever, and yeah, it's grimy. So if you see that pop up in your Facebook feed, just warn you, that's an entirely AI book that they're trying to pass as an art book. So as an art instruction book on top of it.
That's the best part. That's the best part. Like,
so yeah, and they're trying to like cover up the fact that, you know, that AI can't really be, is not consistent with its output, by claiming that they have all these artists working on the book together, but nobody is credited. There's not one name. At least this book has the list of all the artists that contributed to the book. You know, let's see, Mark Criley, Martin Abel. Oh, I'm waiting for his art book. Martin Abel. I'm waiting for his art book to come in. Mr. Hope. Yeah. Oh, that explains. Let's see. Yeah, I know Mr. Hope too. Humberto Ramos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many. Yeah, there's so many people in here. And yeah, so they have fighting poses, just regular action poses. They have, for those of you who remember, they have this pose, the infamous Manara pose. You know, they have all the poses in here. They have wrestling poses, fighting poses on poses, you know. So I'm really happy to have this book. Oh, I don't even know if I showed these books too. Again, because Google had become such a cesspool, right? I found these on eBay for $20 for the both of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so this is the Boris Vallejo fantasy art techniques, and this is the fantastic art of Boris Vallejo. And I decided to get these. I used to have these books, but I think I lost them in the Great Mouse Plague of long ago. No, really, I had a severe mouse problem of Australia. You know, they were eating my books. I had to throw out so many books because they were nesting in my bookcases, and they were eating through books. It was awful. It was awful. So I had there was this AI piece that had popped up that wasn't even claiming to be AI. It just said that it was a Boris Vallejo piece, and I had never seen this piece before. And of course, even after doing reverse image search, nothing else but other AI pieces came up, and I knew it's like, oh, holy shit! It's like not only do I have
there's a Rosetta piece circulating now.
Yeah, even you know, like even with the data, all the data being corrupted, now they're claiming AI pieces as the original artist pieces. And I go, no. And it's like, and I went on eBay and I just bought these books. It's like, nah, nah, this is we have to go back to physical media. It's like the same thing with DVDs, right? It's like
Right.
yeah, we have to just go back to physical media and just recollecting books again. And because of that, I started like fixing up my office again, and I bought like this bookcase to at least start. Well, one, so I could finally bring down the last of the books that I have under my bed from when I renovated the office, and also to make room for all the new books that I have coming in.
Uh-huh.
So at least I started doing that. And then it's like I just have to buy 2 new shelves to replace the shelves that I have here, because there's like a gap like this long, like this much between shelves. And I'm staring at it the entire time because, if I had just gotten a shelf that went all the way across, I'd have so much more room for books. So yeah, so I just have to, luckily it's an easy fix. I could just buy the shelf, get it cut to size that I needed, and then just install it, and then that's it. Yeah, HR says I'm waiting for Atlas of Cars so I can have full control of the coolest ones for my other projects. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. It's like we're all going back to this, right? You have digital artists going back to traditional media, and now it's like now we're going back to collecting traditional media as well, going back to physical media.
Well, we kind of have to when our
nonsense.
searches are crippled.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really happy. I mean, I'm going to completely Kruger this book. The only bad thing is that they put on, I would rather have had the 7 individual books, because I'm going to wreck
That
this
spine is
spine.
gonna fuck up. Yeah.
That this spine is like, this is, enjoy it now, because it's not going to stay like this, because I am just going to completely break that back. So I'm really happy with the book. I don't know. It's like, I was just been seeing like really, really stupid shit online, and I am just so happy. It's like, what? Okay, so I can't do 1,000 pieces in an hour. But you know what? I'm really having a ball with what artwork I can do at this moment. Yeah, you know what? It's like, it's like you can have your ability to make 1,000 pieces an hour, because like you might as well just tell me, it's like, oh yeah, I like vomiting. I mean, because in the end, that's all you're telling me. It's like, I like vomiting. It's like, oh, look at this piece of carrot. You could pick out a piece of carrot, maybe.
Oh my God, Daphne.
I mean, it's like, that's, and it's like, that's fine. I'd rather savor my food. I'd rather savor my food. I'd rather actually eat my food and savor it, rather than just, vomiting, this whole like, digital diarrhea that everyone is trying to be proud of. I don't know.
My mom likes my art.
No, your mom doesn't like, no, even your mom knows better. It's like, what? It's like, at least my art doesn't stop when the power goes out.
Ouch. Yes.
I mean, it's just really funny, because it's like there was like this really stupid thing. I don't even want to get into it. Yeah, but it's like they're trying to, like, I swear, it's like these are just like tech bro ops thing that they're trying to like push. Like I swear, it's like all these bots and these, like trying to push out this narrative, and now it's like something called break the pencil, and it's like, the tyranny of artists and copyright. And I go, you guys don't know how pencils work, dude. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Because I saw someone had posted up a thing. It's like when you break a pencil, 2 takes its place. Because then you sharpen the other end, and now you have 2 pencils, right? And I'm like going, oh, wait until they find out we can draw with pens. I mean, we have literally, as a civilization, been doing art with literal shit and water.
Shit, water, dirt, and yes, flowers.
So it's like, it's like, it's like, look, the art doesn't stop when electricity goes out, You know, I mean, it just gets more and more pathetic. But I don't know. This book, I'm just really excited to have this book. You know, and to integrate it. You know, and also it's like just being able to see Boris Vallejo's book again.
Right.
You know, it was really. I mean, it was one. It's really nostalgic, and two, it's like, come on. It's like really, really, come on. We all had this hanging up in our bedrooms, right? It's not just me, right? You know, it's just really nice, you know. And then I know this, and what's cool is that this is a technique book, and it shows you like his pen and ink stuff and how he sets up his paintings and his techniques on how he paints. I mean, it's just nice, you know. It's just really, really nice. It's like it's I don't know. I like learning. You know, it's not it's like the point is not getting to the end result is not the point. It's you know, it's what we learn along the way. It's the friends we make along the way. You know, not how many carrot pieces you can vomit, you know.
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
I mean, really. So I'm just excited to have this book. I just really also I'm excited because I'm almost halfway done. I'm almost halfway through Eager Raven issue 12. I've been a little slow on it. Technically, I should be starting issue 13 right now, but it's like, I don't know. I just had like so much stuff come up that I just decided that's like, you know what? As long as I finish all my pencils this year, I'm on target. You know, so that next year I can start inking and coloring and whatnot, and have the books come out. So I'm almost halfway done through issue 12, and it's like the idea of finishing volume 3 is kind of like, oh my god, I'm one volume away from completing the series. And it's kind of nerve-wracking. So I don't know. I'm trying to. So I think I just needed to kind of like slow down a bit. And it's like, you know, are we really in a rush to finish this? You know, but yeah. So really, so the topic just kind of like you just needed a filler title.
It was generic. It
Right.
wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know. It's complicated because I don't want to say like I don't think that people have the right to boast if they have awards.
Right.
I just like am so sus with all these fucking comics awards, especially the ones that are like pick this or pick that, and things are completely unrelated or relative to one another. And it's like, how do you even decide these categories? This shit doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You know, and it's like I'm nominated for the. It's just exhausting. That's all.
Right.
And it's like, and at the end of the day, to me personally, they don't mean anything because it's just people's opinion. Even rightfully judged award shows are still opinion based.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like.
Well, I remember when I tried to self.
Fuck.
Yeah. When last year I tried to self-nominate for the Ringos. I was going to nominate Eager Raven Volume 1 until I realized I had to spend like $200 to buy enough trade paperbacks for all their judges. And then I go, fuck that shit. I'm not spending money on you.
Well, there's a couple of them that are doing like these podcaster awards, and people have been DMing me, oh, you can nominate yourself, or I'm going to nominate you. And I'm like, please don't. Because I swear to fuck, I am like Eminem back when Eminem was cool when it comes to that shit. I don't give a fuck about a Grammy. Happy motherfuckers. Yeah, right?
When he was back, it was just Marshall.
Can't even stomach me, let alone stand me. Like, no, I'm good. Please do not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because also another thing too that could relate to the title, right? Because it's like, you know, you have the whole thing. You know, we just went through this whole thing about people drama farming. I actually
they're
like that
drama
term.
farming of a book. It's harvest time.
Like, yeah, I know, really. You know, I do like that term, drama farming. and and it's like where it's like, okay, whoever has the biggest drama for some reason can attract the most people to their campaign. It's kind of ridiculous because it doesn't make any sense, because the drama has nothing to do with the quality of your books. So, but like I said, it's like I think that people have a misguided sense of marketing that's like, any publicity is good publicity. But in the end, are you really attracting the people you want to your book? Because I mean, the people
because with these people, it tends to be the dollar value that's at the end of the day, not the return backer count. They'll just start a fight the next time to pull it in again.
Right.
Like, and what's really, really sad is that some of these guys that are doing the drama farming, one in particular is an extremely fucking talented artist. Like, her shit is fucking gold compared to most of the stuff we see. And it's like, and then all you see is beef and beef and beef and beef. And it's let's just block them out and don't give a fuck about anything she fucking makes. And that's fucking sad.
Exactly. No, it really is, because it's like, wouldn't you rather people know you for your work rather than
I'm talking like fucking
right. Yeah, it's weird, but so the funniest thing, right, is that I think I recently came across the opposite of drama farming.
A pity farming?
Oh my God.
You found the pity farmer?
I look, it was there was one show I was watching where everybody had a story, and it was just like, oh my God, are they promoting Kickstarters or GoFundMes? I mean, like it was like, oh my God. Well, let me preface this. This, right? Oh, hold on. I didn't get my water. Hold on. Let me just go get my water.
Oh Lord.
But yeah. So let me preface this.
Okay. Right.
As everybody gets to see me actually get out of my chair. Yes, I am not complete. I am not
in all of New York.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I am not fused. I am not biologically fused to my chair. So a while ago, I was kind of like talking about how everyone promoting their books was really like everybody kind of like held on to the phrase passion project, right?
Oh gosh.
And how difficult it was to, like, if everybody's doing a passion project, right? It's like it's like, what do you, in the end, how, like, it sounded like a good thing to say, that it's like, oh, this is a passion project and this, that, and the other thing, right? But like, in the end, what were we saying when we said that? That it's like,
fuck our characters.
Well, that's true. Well, yeah, of course. Well, if you don't design them, if you don't feel like doing that, did you design them correctly? That's besides the point. That's beside the point.
Okay.
But it's like, so everybody. So it seems like everybody on Kickstarter say this is a passion project. It's a passion project, right? So it's like, so what did, in the end, what does that mean? Especially when it's like you're seeing somebody's Batman but different, they're X-Men but different, but it's like, oh, this is my passion project, and it's like, really?
I thought about it when I was filling up tissues and socks. That's what
it's like, really? It's like,
No.
But it's like, but in the end, right? I mean, so it just became a very meaningless marketing phrase.
You mean like I love you on the first date and shit?
Oh, no. Well, on the first date, it's kind of weird.
Well, okay. Well, the third.
Right. I mean, so passion project became just a really meaningless marketing phrase. And even though, like, for me, it meant something, in the end, it didn't mean anything to anybody else. Like, somebody who's coming across your work for the first time, and you say, oh, this is my passion project. Like, in the end, what does that mean to them?
What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Tell me why you're passionate about it. It's the same thing as strong female character. It's gone the way of that. Strong female character
that doesn't really mean anything. Right. You're not telling me anything. Right. So So the other day I was watching a show with all these people promoting their Kickstarters, and something really strange happened on this show that I didn't realize it until I probably hit the third or fourth person on the show saying something similar to this. And they were all like, kind of like, yeah, probably pity farming or trauma farming.
God, it's horrible. It's horrible. There's two extremes.
Where it's like they were using like, oh, the inspiration for this book was because this family member died, or my uncle died, my mother died, and this, and it's like, and I was doing this book, because, oh, my cousin's nephew's roommate got diabetes or something like that. It's like, I mean, it just got really weird, because it's like it started to feel like the next part, like the first person would trauma farm, right? And then like the next person had to kind of up the ante.
Oh, so they had an even worse story, and then an even worse
and it got really, really awkward. Like, and I was like, listen to this. Oh my God, this is getting like really gothic. It's like, wow, and I was like trying to, realize, like, what are they doing? Like what? And then it's like, I realized they're marketing. Well, you see, here's the funny thing, right? Because, just like with, this is a passion project, right? It's like what I realized. So there's this idea in marketing that it's all like it's good to kind of like make your project personal, like, kind of like say something that makes it personal, right? So that it appeals to the audience. So it's like you kind of like bond with the audience. But the problem is that what I realized what was happening is that, the idea is to make it personal, but not make it about you.
No, the idea is to evoke emotion and feeling, and and people get so caught up. They think the emotion or feeling doesn't matter as long as one can relate. That's why we have the drama farmers, because angry. Who's never been angry? You've got who's never had a traumatic experience, who's never been fucking depressed, who's never been downtrodden, who's never lost a relative. Yeah. So they use all this instead of like marketing with excitement or for their project, or in the event of these guys who started out with normal books who are just slapping TNA on the cover, but there's no sex inside. That's the feeling of lust comes over. And so it's like, but they're going for all these wrong feelings and fucking emotions. Not that there's anything wrong with those kitty covers. I do like them kitty covers, but there's personal purpose, but whatever. But they're trying to evoke something, but they're evoking the wrong fucking thing if they want the constant growth and build.
Right, because it's like, look, I understand what they're doing, but the problem is that the thing with being relatable is being relatable to the audience. The audience is making the audience, giving your audience a bridge that they can go, oh, like, oh, we have something in common. But there's a difference with something with you having something in common with the audience and suffering something that's specific to you, i.e. you're making it about yourself,
right,
which doesn't really endear you to the audience. It's like,
it's gonna get you trauma bonding backers.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, those aren't the backers you want either. No. Oh, his mom died, so I'm going to buy his book. I mean, it's like, it's no different than, oh, that person, he has beef with this person, so I'm going to, it's like, it's the same person, except you're appealing to an opposite emotion,
right,
to get the same result that's not sustainable, So it was just, so I mean, it's just kind of, so it was the whole thing about make it personal, like make your product personal, but don't make it about you.
Right.
Because it's the audience that is making it it's the audience you're trying to make it personal to. Like, what does your story appeal to your audience? Like, so say that you're selling, you see, that's the thing, they're making just a selling point So say, oh, my mom died and I was inspired to do this book, right? That's you making it personal to you.
Right.
How do you link it to the audience, right? Oh, this is a story about loss.
Right.
And rebuilding a family.
There you go.
It's like now all of a sudden you're appealing to something to the audience member.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, me and my best friend, we came up with this story when we were drunk or whatnot. What's the story about? Oh, it's a story about the power of friendship, or something like that.
Oh wait.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's the story, it's a story about that. It's like, and we kind of like, it's the story, it's a story about alienation. It's a story about not fitting in. It's the story, it's like, it's these more generic concepts that people can kind of put themselves in that spot. That's what makes it personal, not you telling a very specific story about something that specifically happened to you. Let me.
Then you take it personal. When you make it about you, then they end up taking it personal too, because now there's a fucking trend of people getting upset. Oh, my mom died. I need to get this book out. Yada yada. Back her book, or back this book. If you don't support this book, you're a heartless motherfucker.
Right? Like that's kind of the implication.
It's
that,
like
and people and
not
people
even
don't
kind
like
of the
that.
implication. I have literally seen that happen.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Like, whoa. Okay.
Right. If you don't buy my book, you hate my mom. Type of thing. Yeah. It's
you want her to die, and it's like, no, motherfucker. That's not how this works.
Yeah. So it just becomes like, it's like, look, marketing is, to put it bluntly, a form of manipulation. You're manipulating the audience into buying your book.
Absolutely.
But the trick is to not make it look like that. To say that, it's like, so, and I think that when people talk about these types of trauma that inspired the book, the manipulation is a little too obvious. It's kind of like a Pixar movie, It's like, well, you're supposed to cry now at this part,
because you're not trying. You're trying to manipulate their emotions, not manipulate their interest.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the difference. So years ago, there's this one of the few video games I played, Alice Madness Returns by American.
Oh, epic.
Yeah, so it was one of the few games. I'm not really a big game player, but that was one of the games that I actually would play. That I would play.
Me neither. Let me check on my wife and kids.
Right. Yeah. And so the game was incredibly popular, and then they came out with a sequel. That I forgot what the sequel was. Alice Return to whatever. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. But I mean, I had the game, but I never played it. Right. And it seems that it kind of fell flat with audiences who was a fan of the first game, and then they picked up the second game, and it's like, it's like we don't like this as much, even though same person who did it, same type of imagery. If you like that goth Alice in Wonderland type stuff, it's like it's same imagery, same dark storytelling, but something was different this time.
Right.
That people had a harder time latching on to this, to the sequel. And I didn't really think about it. I just remembered that it's like, oh, I couldn't find God mode. I only play these games in God mode because I'm too busy. I just want to relax.
Because you're playing to chill. I get that.
I'm playing to chill. I'm not playing to spend 5 hours just
I like Hill personally.
Just to jump a ledge. So so I didn't, I remember like not being able to find God mode for the second game, so I never bothered playing it, so instead what I do is I watch playthroughs on YouTube. And then a video had come up where they were talking about what happened, like it was kind of like their theory as to what happened between the two games. And the person who did the video was explaining that the first game was about, was about Alice, was about this retelling about Alice in Wonderland. But but the thing is that what made it different was that it was a corruption. So Alice ends up institutionalized, and Wonderland becomes corrupted because of her feelings of guilt, of survivor's guilt from surviving a fire that killed her family, that she thought that she had accidentally set. So the whole game is about her like working through her guilt and the feelings of loss and these types of things, right? These types of feelings, right? And and everybody, and the guy was explaining, because I remember it being a guy doing the video, and he was saying that this, that was pretty much the themes of the game itself. But when the second game came out, the difference was that they made Alice's problems specific. Where in the first game, they made it a very general thing that anybody who played the game could relate to. Again, feelings of loss, guilt, regret, just very general things that even though it was like they were loosely there was a loose story that brought it all together in the game, but it was loose enough that anybody could play the game. And even though like they're playing Alice, the feelings are universal. The problem with the second game was that they made the story specific to Alice. Turned out there was a creepy ass doctor who was molesting her sister and set the fire to cover his crime, and then he had Alice institutionalized. It kind of went into Sucker Punch territory where the doctor was selling off the kids in the institution into prostitution. And then it's like Alice escapes, and then she escapes into Wonderland, which is corrupted again, but this time it's corrupted by her need for revenge against this doctor. And what the guy was explaining is that yes, Chad, we're talking about American McGee's Alice. We're talking 1 and 2. So what the narrator was explaining is that the reason why the second game wasn't really as popular was because now the story was so specific to Alice. There was no ability for the player to project. So because now they were playing Alice's story, they weren't playing their own, essentially, right? So the story had become too specific for the audience to engage with it. And I kind of think that that's what I was seeing with this show, with everybody making their trauma part of the book, but it had nothing to do with the book, right? It was just like, oh, this is my trauma, you should buy my book because of that. As opposed to, this is the story that came from it. It's a story about loss. It's a story about mothers. It's a story about losing someone you love and working through that, and yeah, I just had like a lot of feelings about what I was listening to, and I like understanding what they were trying to do, but like going, it's like, that's not how you do it. It's like,
yeah, it was a whole freaking panel of people just like, my story's bad, my story's worse, my story's worse, mine's worse, or worse this, worse this.
Right. Yeah, it was like I said, it got really, really awkward.
Right.
And yeah, and it's like, your audience, right? It's like, yeah, it's like there's this whole thing about how your audience, you have to get your audience to like you, right? But also at the same time, you have to realize is that you want your audience to kind of like be able to relate to your story on its own. It's like I have had I've had many people read Eagle Raven, and it's just really fascinating for them to pick out. I know what themes I purposefully put in the story, but to see people kind of take themes out of the story that I didn't realize I had put in, that once they mention it, I know it's there, but the fact that it's like, oh yeah, this is totes about this. This is, oh, I really relate to the story because of this. And I'm like going, oh, I don't remember. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, you really could, read the story like that. That's not what I meant, but you could really read the story like that. And it's like, oh, that's cool. They didn't need me to hold their hand to tell them what the story was about. In term, thematically. Like probably at worst, I'll tell them what tropes are in the book, what tropes I think are in the book that they might like. But in the end, the point is like these trope lists that I was started to put together, to advertise the book, that it's like, well, here's the tropes that I think you'll like. And then it's like, and then people are able to kind of like project their interests onto that. And then it's like, oh, I like those tropes. Let me get this book. This book sounds like something I might be interested in. It's like, yeah, I could go through an entire litany as to what, what the story of Eagle Raven means. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, this was based on this was based on that. It's like, but I don't see the point of that. Mental Trauma Olympics. Yeah. Oh my God, really? Hey, Vess. Like I could easily do that too, but to me, there's no point, because it's like, look, it's like I've already projected enough of myself in the story. Once it's out there, now the hope is that the audience sees enough of themselves in the story that they will enjoy the story too. Or even if they don't see themselves in the story, they just enjoy the story for what it is, right? But yeah, so that was just kind of like a weird thing where it's like there was something that Tyler Carpenter had said that took me a while to process, where he says that when you're talking about advertising on social media, creating content for social media, right? You create content according to the audience, not according to who you're trying to impress. You don't make content for other creators. You make content for your audience. And it took me a while to understand that. But I think, it's like, but the thing is though, like for what I eventually kind of realized what he was talking about is that you have to create this shared bond with your audience, because they're the ones ultimately who are going to buy your books and be interested in your books. So it's like, so it's like, yeah, I could make a video about how I make a comic, how I'm drawing a comic, right? But is that really attracting the audience that is ultimately going to buy my book? So it's like, so when I do, I don't know, a video about, I don't know, talking about something like this, it's like the storytelling, like, these are the tropes. These are, I don't know. It's like that, like in his example, it's like, oh, he likes Dragon Ball Z, so he does a video on Dragon Ball Z in the hopes that, oh, they'll see him that he's doing a Dragon Ball Z type story in Girl with the Mega Fists, and they'll like that book too, it's like the whole fan art dilemma, right? Where it's like me doing a picture of Deadpool is a waste of time for me, because the people who would like Deadpool can't relate to anything else that's on my table because it's all fantasy, And it's like, well, I just like Deadpool. It has nothing to do with your books. But if I do a print based on, I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons, that might be a different story. Somebody who's interested in, I don't know, if I do a fan art of Tiamat, and it's like, oh yeah, you like fantasy, I do these books too. It's like, oh, well, I like this, and this kind of reminds me of this, so let me get that. It's kind of like that kind of dilemma, even though me personally, I don't like the idea of using fan art as bait, because in the end, that's what we're doing. But but the thing is, though, it's like I think it's less benign. I think it's more benign than using like drama as bait or trauma as bait. But it's like I don't know if I was like kind of trying to like figure this.
I don't know if it's baiting or if that's just the way people relate to it. I mean, it's just, or how they think to get others to relate. It's complicated.
Yeah, I was really trying to like gather my thoughts on this.
Because you absolutely can be inspired for personal reasons and personal stories.
Yeah.
But to market to your audience, the approach you take, I
was watching a video this morning where a guy was talking about a video game that he played that was completely inspired by the developer having a chronic heart condition. And he created this game based on that concept. It was all like, like heart, a lot of heart imagery and, that type of thing. But I think that the difference there was that the developer's heart condition that inspired the video game that he made, which he made thinking that it would be his only game that he'd be able to make. Fortunately, he's still alive and well, and he's made a lot more games after that. So, but he made that first game thinking that like he was going to die making this game, but that's not what happened. But the way it was presented as more of a piece of trivia than a selling point. Oh, right. Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that could have been maybe if I had done that, Dungeons and Dragons Deadpool, right? But yeah, so it's like the game, yeah, so it's like the fact that it was based on his heart, that he was inspired to do the game with his heart condition, was actually just a piece of trivia, not a selling point for the game, the way it was presented in this video. And it's like, and I think that when it comes to, yes, okay, you were inspired because someone important to you died who really wanted you to do this comic. Like, I understand how that connection is important. But the thing is, though, is it important to your audience that you're trying to attract? So it's like, I'm not saying that your mom should be regulated to a trivia point, but to your audience, that's what that is. Boy, that sounds fucked up. Maybe, I just can't think of another way to reword this. I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Well, yeah, because it was like the whole panel was trying to get guilt backers.
Like it was kind of.
It was like, tell me your story. Tell me your story of what inspired you. Yes, it can be sad or whatever, but don't turn it into a.
Like that shouldn't be your main selling point.
Yeah, don't make it your main selling point.
Yeah,
push the story.
Right.
It's complicated because you do kind of fucking sound heartless if you just fucking lay it out like, don't guilt me or whatever. But that's what it is, and it's like people don't like the you're invoking feelings of discomfort.
Yeah.
Versus piquing someone's interest.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's like how would I word this? Like, okay, let's go back to the dead Disney mom, right? So, so it's like, okay, so a relative passed that really wanted you to do this book, and you decided to kind of like honor that by putting those feelings in the book, like making the story revolve
Right,
around, again,
absolutely.
like the feelings of loss and regret. And, you know, and it's like, but like kind of like that's where you start first. It's like, oh yeah, my book is about loss and regret and how we work through things, and, you know, and how, you know, it's like how, you know, it's the friends we made along the way, you know, and that was inspired by my mother's passing, right? So it's like, it sounds less, you know, as opposed to, yeah, my mom died and I wrote this book. You know, I don't know, like I just think that the other way that I said incorporates the story, like it incorporates the inspiration into the story without it feeling like a selling point. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know. It's like I think we forget like how much of marketing really is wordplay, and like how we really do need to think about how we talk about our books and our stories to an audience who doesn't know you, right? And that's the thing. It's like you know, they don't know your audience. It's like this audience doesn't know you. They only, you know, it's like you're trying to sell a book to them, and here you are trauma dumping on them. Like, yeah, that's no, there has to be more grace there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just because at least with this, there's a way of just rewording everything to fit together more harmoniously. The inspiration with the work, with the final work, with the book, with the story you're telling. You know, there's a way to incorporate all this without sounding crass. I think that's what kind of bothered me. It's like, Den goes, love your show, informative, always, good points. Don't invoke feelings of discomfort. Indeed. Yeah. That's kind of like, yeah, because Melissa, creators should strive to make their audience fall in love with their story and enjoy it as much as we love making it. Pity backers won't love your story. They just feel bad for you. Exactly. Yeah, that's okay. Yes, you're all getting it. Okay. That's what I need.
We're not completely lost, Daphne.
Yeah.
You make some sense.
I know, right? Sometimes I do. I think a lot of that has to do with the angle of approach. If the audience is there for your personality, such trivia can be a draw. If they're coming for the work by its own merits, they don't care. Yeah, it's and like I said, I think trivia is kind of the word here, because to your audience, that's all that is. It's just trivia. It's like saying you were inspired to do this book because your mom died is pretty much, they see it the same way as saying, well, one of the big inspirations for Eagle Raven was I used to watch She-Ra all the time as a kid. You know, I mean, it's kind of like to an audience member, it sounds like the same thing. You know, because it's just a piece of trivia that technically doesn't mean anything to them. You know, in the end. You know, it doesn't matter if they really do like She-Ra or if they really did have a mother die too. It's kind of irrelevant to the book, like to the book itself. Yeah, but am I going to like your book? You know, like that's kind of, the final question. Yeah. Oh, it's funny. It's like Dan saying that don't make. It's like, what did he say? Don't make your audience feel uncomfortable. What was that? Where's Dan? Oh, Den. Don't invoke feelings of discomfort, right? Kind of completely unrelated, but maybe not. Maybe it might be related. Back when we were doing House of Bob, right? There was always this thing that would come up repeatedly, that people would repeatedly say in the chat. Sex sells, but don't make us feel pervy. Right? It's like sex sells as long as you don't make us feel like a pervert. Right? And and which kind of explains the popularity of TNA and sexy covers and whatnot. I guess it's like, sexy but not pervy, right? It's like it's a way for, it's like, oh, I'm buying this sexy cover, but it doesn't make me feel like a pervert, I guess, um because what I've seen is that, there are people who put out really raunchy covers and they don't usually do as well, um as like because now it's kind of like that joke from what was that movie with Robert Downey Don't go full retard kind
Oh
of
gosh.
thing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What
I
was
can
that?
see it.
Yeah.
Tropical Thunder.
Yeah, Tropical Thunder, right? It's like you went full retard. So it's like don't go full pervy, right? And I kind of think that this is related, like the sentiment is the same. It's like you want to relate emotionally, you want to connect with your audience emotionally, but don't go full trauma bonding. Don't make your audience uncomfortable by trying to trauma bond with them. Even though I just learned that I'm using that phrase the wrong way. So like just trying to like, tell these personal stories that technically your audience really didn't want to hear, they just want to know about your book and how they can relate to your book, not necessarily to you specifically like that. Like I mean, obviously people in the chat are understanding what I'm saying. Obviously. Tropic Thunder.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sexy sells. Thank you. Yes, sex doesn't, right? Yeah, because it's a weird paradox, right? And I kind of think that that's what was getting mixed up. Because here's the thing, when it comes to the drama farming, right? There is no way to fix that. Because the drama always never has anything to do with the book. Like the book is like so out of the book might as well not be there. So it's like there is no way of really like, well, how do you rephrase that to get people to buy your book other than buy my book to make that person cry, right? There's no way to fix that. With this particular case, though, you are trying to bond with your audience on a more emotional level, but it's very easy to get kind of weird about it, and it's like, and we have to be careful. Oh, if I say sexy colors. Right? Yeah. Oh, what is this like? Right? It's like, oh, what am I saying sexy? Right? You do. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's. And I don't know, like, how much of this do you think it's because, we kind of like have a hard time with our own emotions to begin with. So when we try to talk about an emotion, having emotional resonance, we don't know how to do that properly. Oh, Imaginer says, got to be careful though, as you should never fear challenging your audience with honesty in your content. Oh yeah, no, definitely. That's true. That's true. I mean, because it's like, if those are the themes in your story, right? That's where people should be getting that emotional connection from, right? It's like, well, this is a story about loss and love and, and finding yourself and fitting in and not fitting in. It's like, those are the themes in your story, that's where your audience is going to make that emotional connection. I'm just saying that, when you just come out the gate saying it's like, oh yeah, it's like so and so died and I dedicated this book to them, and that's kind of like the extent of your pitch, then it gets kind of weird. I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's because it's like we're talking, it's like it's kind of hard to like talk emotionally without feeling like I don't know, like we have to be personal, you know, but how do you be personal without making it about you? Because in the end, if you make it about you, you alienate your audience. Den goes, that's another good point about pre-existing trauma. When we write, we just write what we know and such. People definitely do have problems expressing themselves, and I feel emotional resonance is part of that. If it makes sense to you, knowing your audience is paramount. Right? Yeah, exactly. Which I think is part of I think was part of the issue too, like, because, like I said, that type of trivia, and I hate to make it sound like it is trivial, but like I said, in the context of an audience who's looking at your book, is hearing you talk about your book for the first time, that is just a piece of trivia to them. And, and in the end, it's like, okay, well, what does that have to do with your book? Why should I like your book then? Just because someone important to you, someone that meant something to you, I mean, it's kind of a fine line. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it stood out for me because it started to make me feel weird, like kind of ick, where it's like, it just felt like everyone was just trying to outdo each other. And it's like, and then somehow that trauma made their book more important. And it was just really weird. Like I couldn't, I still can't kind of put my finger on it as to, like, was it wording? Like maybe if they just worded it differently, or I don't know. It's like, or maybe like, unless that's a really, really important part of the story, does it really need to be mentioned? I mean, if you already have an established audience, right? And you're talking to an established audience that already knows your work. And it's like, it's like, let me tell you the story of how this was inspired, how this event in my life inspired this story. And maybe you can see the parallels, right? Like if you have an audience already that knows you and is already familiar with your book, then maybe that story would mean more to them. Like it wouldn't just be a piece of trivia to them. It would be like part of the storytelling process. But if it's somebody that just like, what's this now? It's like, what book is this? What is this? What is this about? It's like, I've never heard of you. Who are you? Maybe that's not the best time to bring up that, to bring that up. I don't know. Like, because I'm trying to remember if I ever had anybody do that at a convention in person. Like I've had my share of being on the wrong end of a really pressure sales pitch, high pressure sales pitch. But it's like, I can't remember if anybody at a convention tried that tactic. Like, I don't know if maybe this is just kind of like an online thing where everyone is just so used to oversharing that they just think it's like natural. Like that's just what you do. If you're trying to sell something, you overshare. Maybe it's the oversharing. Maybe that's what it is. Huh. I don't know. Do you think it's really like, maybe my problem is that I felt like they were oversharing something really personal? Oh, you don't have you have one half bar. Oh, your roof. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Anita has her volume. She has herself muted because they're fixing her roof, and I guess they're right over her. So it's either like we do sign language, or or we get to listen to banging all day. the entire show. Let's see. Imaginus goes, oh yeah, for sure. That's a type of pity party stuff. Only works once. Nobody wants to be pressured into buying. Well, yeah, that's for sure. I certainly don't like it. It's the reason why I don't like walking artist alleys at conventions. I don't like Den says I think it's an online thing. It's a different thing in my opinion. Also, I watched She-Ra 2 as a kid and He-Man. Yeah, of course. Of course. Dungeons and Dragons, My Little Pony, the Smurfs, the whole thing. But yeah, so I don't know. So obviously, okay, so at least so maybe, because in the end it could be just a me thing. I'm not a person that likes to share personal stuff publicly if I don't have to. So it's like I find it kind of weird when people kind of integrate that into as a selling point. So maybe I'm just kind of like, oh, I wouldn't have said that.
I don't even mind. Look, there are cases where the personal story it has to be there for you to sell the context of what you're doing, to explain that this is the type of emotional path you'll be walking, i.e. the death of a family member, a dog, whatever.
Right.
But it's like when it becomes a competition and the main selling point is the issue. And it was like you said, these people were competing with one another. My story is sad. Mine's worse. Mine's worse. Mine's worse. Mine's worse. And it was a whole fucking panel of how bad my life is or was, and buy my book because it was so bad.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Because I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
It was the stacking.
Yeah. Because it's like, because it's like to have one person, because I kind of felt like there came a point where it's like, oh, that person did it, so I probably have to tell a story too. It's like going back to the whole thing about Passion Project, right? When that was the word du jour, that everyone would say whenever they had a campaign, this is a passion project, a passion project. Oh, well, this is a passion project, and this is a passion project. And it's like, once it gets, there are people in our community who are looking for buddies instead of just focusing on creating content. Well, that's a whole other issue too.
Whole other issue.
That's a whole other issue too.
But it can be part of this issue too.
Right.
Let me be personable so that we can be friends. We can relate on this level or something.
Right.
It's all chaotic.
Right. Yeah. It's because like
buddy.
Where are your buddies? It's like, was it my buddy, my buddy and me?
Oh my gosh.
That was the original toy, the actual toy that inspired
Chucky. Be careful with that. Yeah, backstabbing bastard.
Yeah. What's really funny is how the parody of the doll outlasted the actual doll.
Right.
Because I remember the My Buddy, right? And then, like I said, Chucky was a complete satire on that concept. Right. And now everybody knows Chucky. It's funny how that works. So so I don't know. Yeah, it was just kind of like Den goes, writing should never be a competition. That's not right for the art of storytelling. True. It shouldn't be a hand of one-upmanship, in my opinion. No, yeah. And I think that when we're trying to marketing books, it's very easy to kind of get racked up in the peer pressure of it. Well, this person is doing it, so I have to say it. And it and then once it becomes like, it's like the most derivative shit, that's how it like kind of like loses its luster, it's because it's like, right, it's like, oh yeah, my Batman but different was a passion project inspired by the death of my mother. It's like, oh, come on, bro. There just comes a point where it just sounds ridiculous. That just sounds like somebody trying to grasp at a story, trying to put together a story that the audience might like relate to, but all it does is make you sound weird.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I guess like, yeah, I think it's just like it was a peer pressure thing. Oh, this person said that. Now I have to come up with something. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You know, yeah, I don't know. It was just like kind of weird. And I've been thinking about it since I heard that show. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is literally the opposite side of the coin of the drama farming. And I was just like really like, and it like kind of like hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, oh shit, this is literally, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just that they're appealing, yeah, they're appealing to a different emotion for an audience. While
Like
one side,
there's the difference between appealing to emotion and
yeah,
appealing to interest.
right,
And I think
yeah.
that's where the confusion sets in.
Yeah, I really do think so. Yeah, it's like, yeah, the fact that, yeah, sure, you might, it's like, look, everybody's lost somebody in their family that they cared for. But just because, a guy selling a comic is like, oh yeah, it's like, I lost somebody too. That's not necessarily a thing that's relatable. Because it's like, it's almost like, well, yeah, we all did, buddy. It's like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like, oh, you had trauma? We all had trauma. We all had something bad, Rocket Raccoon screaming. It's like, oh, we all had something bad happen to us. What's so special about you? And yeah, and that's a fine line between like, oh, it's like, oh, it's like, I like stories about love and loss and, and redemption, right? It's like that's kind of like a different feeling than, than saying, it's like, oh, yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, stand in line, buddy. We all did, type of thing, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I just thought it was weird. And I just thought, like, and I guess going with the topic, it kind of like, this is just another way of people saying, pick me, pick my book, buy my book, pick me, it's like, I have trauma, just like you have trauma, I would say yes. I mean, yes. I would say, yeah, I would say that Ted is Teddy Ruxpin too. Remember when people would, like the kids would get a Teddy Ruxpin and they try to put the heavy metal cassettes inside to make Teddy Ruxpin like sing like Kiss or something. I don't know. And then the Furbies came out, and then it's just like, and then everyone, that was trauma. Furbies came out and traumatized an entire generation. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It was just really weird, and I just needed to talk about it. Because like I said, I was just like kind of thinking about it, and I just couldn't, I don't know. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. I still can't. Yeah, buy my book. I have trauma. Ronan says we all have different types of trauma too. It may not be seen to one person as bad as the other person. It's all personal, and we don't have to buy into it. Right, exactly. Yes, Slayer played by a Teddy Ruxpin is indeed trauma. Well, at least I feel better that you're understanding what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't know, because it just feels like I feel like I'm being an asshole, It's like it just,
because it's
because I don't want to because like my intention is not to belittle what they were saying.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because the trauma is real. It's
right.
just the trauma shouldn't be your marketing, just like the drama shouldn't be your marketing when you're beefing with whoever. Oh, well, buy my book because I hate so and so. Who gives? I don't give a fuck who you hate.
Yeah, because like, look, I'm not going to take away the reality of trauma inspiring stories, because that's a tale as old as time. That's how that works. That is definitely how that works. But I think that there's a way to talk about the story, again, make it personal without making it about you.
Right.
and integrate that into the storytelling rather than this happened to me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess everybody gets it. Like I said, I feel kind of dickish, but at the same time, it was really, really bugging me. So I don't know. I mean, if anyone has any thoughts, if you're catching this on the replay and you have any thoughts, feel free to put it in the comments section, because it's like I'm still ruminating on this idea. Like,
Right.
like what is that? Like yeah, I kind of have to agree with Den that this is like kind of like an internet thing, not necessarily like, oh, this is how people sell books, because like I said, I've never had this at conventions. I've never come across this at conventions in person. So I don't know. Maybe it's just
I have one time.
Oh no.
There's one creator.
What happened?
Dude, I can't even, because it would be too specific with her.
Oh, okay.
But it was just like, wow, bro. Yeah, I'm still not buying your comic. Cool.
Right. And it's like, oh, I'm uncomfortable now.
Yeah, it's like I did not come here to be a therapist. I'm not I'm not qualified for that. I'm fucking crazy myself.
Yeah, I think that once you cross that line with making your audience uncomfortable, it's probably not a good tactic. I think that's safe to say, right?
There's 100 of them.
Yeah, there's 100 of them. Yeah, there's
yeah, it was a woman, which we are emotional. It being so, it's more likely to be a woman in person, I guess. But
that wasn't the show that I watched.
Oh no! This was at a con.
Right, at a con. Right.
Right. I'll even tell you the convention. It was at MegaCon. I'll even tell you the year. It was 2022.
Right.
No, it was 2021.
2021. Yeah. Well, that was the only. It was.
But there were 500 fucking female creators there. No.
Right. Yeah, but yeah. So I think that's Don't make your audience uncomfortable. Den says, I have not seen that at conventions either. That's just personal experience. Also, Nita is making a good solid point. I like reading comics for some escapist aspects and reasons. Yeah. Oh, that could be a separate topic altogether.
Well, yeah. And sometimes men can be the biggest bitches.
Yeah. That's but yeah, because that's also that's a whole thing too. It's like, at what point, like, how, like, I prefer, I like my comics to be escapist, but at the same time, I don't want it to be so completely devoid of the emotional resonance of the story that it's just,
that can only be gotten from reality.
Right. That it's like that it's like it's just people fighting for no reason whatsoever. Like,
there's
cool scenes. It's just comics that just put cool scenes together with no relevance.
Oh, you mean an AI comic?
No. It's like, because me and Jose were talking about like some comics that he's seen where it's like they follow, like, obviously they enjoyed certain comics and they want to do comics, but all they could think about is like, okay, here are all the cool scenes, right? But they have no concept as to why anybody should care. So that's kind of like the opposite, where it's like they're making a comic with no emotional resonance whatsoever. They're just expecting you to care because they said that, oh, this is the cool character. And it's like, well, why should I care that's the cool character? Oh, because I said so. Here's the big beefy guy with his underwear outside of a latex suit. And it's like, so that's kind of like the opposite, how it's like you have stories with no emotional resonance whatsoever, and, that's also a mistake that a lot of creators do as well, where it's like, oh, I just want to make a comic of all the cool parts that I liked.
It's void of emotion, and it's like,
right. And then an audience comes in.
Why would I be invested?
Right. Yeah. But that we can save that for another time, definitely, because that's
like, I just quit watching a manga for that exact reason. Beautiful fucking anime.
Right.
Beautiful anime, not manga. But anyway, beautiful, fucking amazing art, like best fight scenes you ever want to see, but that's all it was anymore.
Right.
And I got bored, so we stopped watching it.
Oh, so yeah, exactly. When the emotional resonance stops.
Right.
Right. So yeah. So put your emotions in your story because you're going to need that. You're going to need that. But kind of leave it out of your of your marketing plan, I guess. You know? I mean, that's all I got, Nita. Do you have any like final thoughts on that? Nah, right? Just the roof. Just the roof. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so I'm glad that at least, all of you watching understand what I'm trying to get at here. Like I said, if you're watching this on the replay and you have your own thoughts about this, just put it in the comments and I'll probably see it eventually. But it's good to kind of like, at least understand what's going on, right? Oh my goodness. So do you have any schedules or anything you had to, or you just had just hammering on the roof? Okay, there you go. So I guess it's so I want to thank everybody who joined us in the chat today. Thank you for adding your 2 cents to this conversation, especially in this economy. And thank you so much to my beautiful eyeball people who watched us all for this entire time too. I hope that you kind of like got something, at least you understood what I was getting at here. And if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and all my other stuff, and you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook if you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress updates. And you can also catch me here on YouTube for 500 plus videos on how I do my artwork and my semi-weekly art live streams Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. This week, I will try to get a Wednesday show out. I wasn't able to do one last week because I had dealing with my accountant, and I couldn't go online. I couldn't go live because, sure enough, the second I go online is when my accountant was going to call. So, that's why we didn't have one last time. So I'll try to make that up this week with Wednesday, 2 hours of me working on something and also chatting with the chat as we do like a convention, but without feeling like a table barnacle. So thank you so much. And also you can read Ego Raven, Air the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, but you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which I just recently found out that my website did not give me notifications that it actually ran out. So I have to upload the new pages. So I think we have up to issue 3 of Tears of the Mother on there. I have to put up the latest issues. So bear with me there. But like I said, there's still 20 issues of Tall Tales to read there, and some of the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother. So you can check that out and go support the campaign. Remember, with that is Tears of the Mother is on Kickstarter right now with the reissues of issues 1 through 5 and the brand new issue 6. Link is in the chat and in the show notes below. We still have plenty of time left on the campaign, but why wait? Support the campaign today. So that's it for us. We'll see. We're not going to have a show on Friday.
No vlog on Friday. No sketchy Saturday on Saturday. But
right, because Nita's going on vacation.
Yeah, we're going to the woods.
Touch
grass. Go outside.
Yes,
touch grass.
Nita is going to go and touch grass. And I'm probably going to still be here doing, I don't know, osmosis with my chair. I don't know. However that goes. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. And not only that, you don't have to depend on drama or trauma to sell your book, because everyone can see the work that you're doing. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Hear me. The Thorn Valley Plan is the aspiration of idiots and dreamers. We We were just talking about you.
That's refreshing, Jenner. Usually you're screaming about us.